At the base of Mount Fuji lies a dense, eerie woodland known locally as the Sea of Trees, or Aokigahara Forest. Over time, however, Aokigahara has gained a far darker reputation. It's widely known as a place where people go to end their lives. Those who wander too far off the main paths may encounter something deeply unsettling, remnants of personal belongings, or even bodies hidden among the trees. Near the entrance, a sign written in Japanese delivers a quiet but powerful message. Please think carefully about your parents, siblings, and children. In July 2017, YouTuber and urban explorer Burbex entered the forest, documenting his journey for viewers. At first, everything seemed ordinary. But just minutes into his exploration, he stumbled upon an abandoned bicycle, an unsettling discovery that marked the beginning of a darker turn.
Only a few meters away from the road right now, but I've already found an abandoned bike. It's actually a pretty nice bike. Let's take a look at it. I don't think it's been here a long time. What do we got in here? And there's a packet for a knife. I think I've just found some kind of note in a bag. It says 1211. I can't quite make out. I think this is somebody's name just here, and I'm not sure what this means.
Resting on the bike was empty packaging for a kitchen knife. Not long after, he found a plastic bag containing a note. Translated, it read, "Verified, Fuji Yoshida Police Station." This suggested the items had been documented as part of an official case, likely belonging to someone who had entered the forest with the intent of never returning. It's chilling to consider how many lives have been lost within Aokigahara, and how easily a passerby could come across traces of those final moments. In response, Japanese authorities have taken steps to prevent further tragedies. Security cameras monitor entrances, and trained volunteers patrol the area, offering support to visitors who may be struggling. Despite these efforts, the forest's tragic legacy continues. Media coverage and online content have only amplified its reputation. In early 2023, a man named David Meredith was out on his usual evening walk in Red Deer when something unusual caught his eye: a massive moose calmly feeding beside a tree. Curious, David stepped closer and hid behind a nearby tree to get a better look. But within seconds, the situation turned dangerous. The moose suddenly noticed him and charged. To understand how serious that is, an adult bull moose can run at speeds over 35 mph, far faster than the average human. While they're not always aggressive, moose can become extremely dangerous if they feel threatened. Realizing the danger, David quickly climbed the nearest tree, pulling himself up just in time to avoid the animal's antlers.
He just ran me up a tree.
Once he was out of reach, he began recording. For about half a minute, the moose stood below, staring up at him. You could hear David's tense breathing as he waited, hoping it would leave. But instead, the moose began charging back and forth beneath the tree, head lowered, a clear sign of stress and aggression. If David had slipped or climbed down, the outcome could have been fatal. In a later interview, David explained that he stayed up in that tree for more than 10 minutes, waiting for the moose to calm down. What makes the situation even more unsettling is how he got up there. He had pulled himself up using a thin, fragile branch. If it had snapped, he would have been left defenseless against an agitated animal. Eventually, after realizing David wasn't coming down, the moose lost interest and wandered off. Even then, David didn't take any chances. He stayed in the tree for another 30 minutes before finally climbing down safely. In February 2018, a man named Greg Harris uploaded GoPro footage of himself riding his ATV along an unnamed trail. At first, the video shows exactly what you'd expect, just a routine ride through the outdoors. But in a split second, everything changes. If you look closely, a nearly invisible metal wire had been stretched between two trees, right across the trail. As Greg rode through, the wire struck his helmet, instantly stopping him. It's a chilling moment, because if the wire had been positioned slightly lower, it could have hit his neck instead, with potentially fatal consequences. Thankfully, a combination of his speed and the wire hitting his helmet caused it to snap on impact. He managed to escape with only minor injuries. As shocking as it sounds, incidents like this aren't unheard of in the dirt bike and ATV community. Sometimes, wires are set up by landowners trying to keep riders off private property. In other cases, they're placed by individuals angered by the noise, or worse, by people with harmful intent. In this particular case, it's impossible to know who set the trap. But one thing is certain: if the wire had been just a few inches lower, the outcome could have been tragic. Greg later shared the footage not just as a record of what happened, but as a warning, urging other riders to stay alert, especially when traveling through wooded trails where dangers like this can be almost impossible to see. Back in the summer of 2014, a man named Chris was cycling through the mountains near Fernie when something unusual caught his attention in the tall grass. At first, it looked like any other animal, but within seconds, he realized it was a mountain lion. Sensing the danger, Chris pulled out his camera and began recording.
I don't know if you can see it, but there's a mountain lion. He's crouching in the grass. He's actually coming towards me.
At first, the animal is hard to spot. But as Chris moves closer to the trail, the shape becomes clearer. The mountain lion slowly emerges from the grass, closing the distance between them.
That is a mountain lion. And he's stalking me.
While sightings like this are rare, they can be extremely dangerous. A mountain lion stalking from a distance, maintaining eye contact, is often a sign that it's assessing its target. And in that moment, Chris was very much at risk. About 2 minutes into the footage, the lion begins to move faster. Panicking, Chris makes a critical mistake. He turns his back and starts to run.
Hey, Mr. Mountain Lion. How are you doing? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. I am much bigger than you.
Something experts strongly advise against when facing a predator like this. For the next few minutes, the tension builds. Chris tries to scare the animal off, but the lion circles him, staying low in the grass and keeping its eyes locked on him.
Stay back. Stay there. I'm not afraid of you.
Eventually, after what must have felt like an eternity, the mountain lion suddenly loses interest. It turns and disappears into the trees, leaving Chris shaken but unharmed. Encounters like this are terrifying, Not just because of what happened, but because of what could have happened. The reality is, the only reason the lion didn't attack was because it chose not to. And in a situation like that, the outcome can change in an instant.